Viewers and subscribers, this is BVI Channel 1, where we tell you undiluted truth. I came across a throwback video of Oputa panel where Col Gbulie and Uchechukwu Merije, both of blessed memory, we are saying truth, telling truth to power during that Oputa panel. And my personal connection with these two men, Uchechukwu Merije, in case you don't know, was my boss at the National Assembly while I was serving. I served under him directly as his media assistant. And I got a whole lot because we had a personal relationship in terms of I've taken him to some meetings, high profile meetings, where I learned a whole lot from that man. And also Col Gbulie, when I conducted interview with him, we had series of discussions and he had impacted in me in so many ways. And the least you can also testify of is the boldness to speak to power and speak the truth without fear. Talking about the 1966 coup, which Col Gbulie had already stated during the interview and many other platforms on his position.
After your fashion, what I know is that had they succeeded, you see, you were blaming January coup for not taking place at Enugu, and yet you didn't blame the July coup for not succeeding at Enugu.
The difference is that the January coup failed, the July coup did not fail.
Exactly. If January coup had failed, I wouldn't be sitting here answering questions. You would have made me Major General or something.
Now, do you believe that Igbos are being marginalized?
Of course Igbos are being marginalized.
Okay.
Let me tell you something.
Wait, you have answered my question. Now, one of your witnesses said Igbos are everywhere in this country and doing everything. They are so friendly and they are involved in every trade and business in every nook and corner of this country.
Is that how you appreciate?
Answer the question.
Is that how you appraise marginalization?
Answer the question.
Every individual. Let me tell you what is wrong with this country.
Sorry, my lord.
Every individual.
My lord, I want you to answer my question.
On his own. Every individual. So Igbos being everywhere shows that Igbos are the best Nigerians. They are the best Nigerians. They are everywhere. They are true Nigerians.
You should have waited for my question.
No, but I must preempt even your question. You see, Igbos, if you are talking about marginalization, it isn't in terms of Igbos individually working as individuals.
In what context is the marginalization?
Exactly. For instance, the question of appointments, the question of things that belong to us in general. In fact, even the question of depriving Igbos of their rights. We never ruled Nigeria.
No, I'm not talking.
We of January 66 never ruled Nigeria. So you are not in a position to know who should have been in the government if we actually wanted to rule Nigeria.
Okay. Now, in 1966, 60% of the officers of the Nigerian army were Igbos. 60%
of the officer corps
were Igbos.
That is, in fact, an estimate, yes.
Yes. And at that time, from your evidence and your book, one of the things worrying the Igbo officers was that there was the Nigerianization of the army, and some people were insisting on quota.
You know, I took advantage of Nigerianization of the army. So I could not condemn Nigerianization of the army.
No, I'm not saying you.
What we took exception from was the question of anybody in trousers becoming an officer. That's what we took exception from.
Now, thinking back now, do you still regard those reasons as valid? Listen, for a military takeover instead of a democratic change of government. You understand the question?
The reasons were as valid then as they are valid today. The killings in the West and the killings in TV area prompted, in fact, an action from us, and there were other reasons.
Now, do you know that like I said earlier, in every corner of this country, there are Igbos living peacefully with other Nigerians.
Living peacefully?
Yes, with other Nigerians.
Well, there are Igbos, correct, but living peacefully, I don't know. Because they are being murdered at every turn. They are being slaughtered at every turn. Anytime there was any riot, they are slaughtered. And you should have known that too.
Are you speaking on facts or on what you read on the pages of newspapers?
Well, all I can tell you is that there's even a case here.
There
case is still
are
here.
Igbos across northern Nigeria.
And probably Akaloka is living happily, isn't he? Probably. He's dead already.
Now, in your book, you warned Nzegu that because, listen now, that because of the number of Igbo officers organizing the January 66 coup, it could be misunderstood as an Igbo coup.
Number one.
Did you warn him, please?
I didn't warn Nzegu. There was no Nzegu. That's number one. Number two.
I am not an Igbo man. I may not know how
good.
to
You must
the name.
try and pronounce the words properly. Number two, I didn't warn Nzogu. If you read my book, I was discussing with Onwatuegu.
With whoever you are discussing,
Good.
you warned. Did you warn?
Now,
that,
let me explain that.
Listen to the question first.
I have listened to the question. I leap ahead. Now,
No, listen, my friend, listen. I call you here to ask you questions.
All right.
And this is a court of law. This is not a military barrack, please. Now, what you said in the book is that people may understand that coup as an Igbo coup because over 90% of those planning the coup were Igbos. Is that correct?
That is not what I said.
What did you say?
What I said that people might take this to be an Igbo coup.
Why?
But I didn't say 90% was not there.
Why did you say so?
There was no 90%.
Why did you say people
Good.
might?
I asked Onwatuegu who and who are in this. He named certain people. Although he named Ademoyega too, I felt that the Nigerian public, being tribalistic, would deem this as an Igbo coup. I said so.
Very
but
good.
that is what is called value judgment.
Okay.
In other words, not taking into consideration the facts. Now, if you read that thing down, you would have seen where he said, oh, but we're releasing Awolowo. Do you know what I said? In other words, the Yorubas are using us. You failed to read that one. You read about the thing being an Igbo coup.
I'm interested in the issue raised by Ohanaeze in your petition, that it was wrong for anybody to assume it was an Igbo coup.
It is wrong till tomorrow for anybody to assume that is an Igbo coup.
When
that person would have committed what is called value judgment, a judgment not based on facts.
Now, addressing some of the questions that was thrown at him, trying to Igbonize the 1966 coup, I would like to re-echo the position of not just Bank Plc, but those that really understood what transpired, that it was not an Igbo coup. And now addressing the major issue of marginalization, subjugation, and killing of the Easterners. Now, what actually transpired and what has changed in the contemporary Nigeria as we have today? Nothing. If you can recall, the 1966 coup came because of the impunity, the corruption among political class. Even the divide and rule, where some section of the western region believe that Akintola is a stooge of the north in the west. And we have what they call waits here. People were killed randomly. People were, if you are going on the street, you can be peddled with acid bomb and the rest of them. A lot of chaos, a lot of corruption and impunity happened. That even Awolowo was even arrested and even jailed and almost tried for treason. The military struck. And it is obvious that at that time, majority of the Nigerian rank and file in the soldiers were Igbos. So it is no magic to have more of Igbos partaking in that coup. But the truth of the matter is that that coup was not an Igbo coup, because other ethnic nationalities was part of that coup. Yes. Now, who stopped the coup? It was the Igbos, Ojukwu and Aguiyi. But they were not talking about it. Only for BBC to go on air to announce Igbo coup. Boom, the pogrom started. And that was how Igbos were killed randomly. Civilians were targeted, not even the military. Everybody, as long as you are from the eastern part of the Nigerian at that time, whether you are Efik, whether you are Ijaw, whether you are Idoma, whether you are, as long as you are from the eastern part of Nigeria, you are killed. That was what gave rise to the declaration of Biafra. We are drawing your attention to what gave rise to what is happening in Nigeria. And up to today, the same element of corruption and impunity as we have today, and even far worse, have not been addressed. The marginalization of the eastern region is still on. And when you talk about marginalization and people are limiting it to appointment, just like we had, it is not just by appointing people across board that shows that there is no marginalization. No. Even up to today, people are being appointed across board. It is statutory. In fact, you had more appointees in Jonathan's administration, in Yar'Adua administration, even in Obasanjo administrations, having Igbos. Yet, the marginalization continues. It is an institutional thing. We are talking about a whole region not having an functional international airport. We all know the history of how Enugu is going up to today. A whole region, no international airport. A people who are known for their commerce and industry. A whole people who have been importing almost more than 95% of importation in this country. Yet they don't have access to seaport that is close by to them. Everything must be concentrated in the north or in the west, including the Western world. All the embassies, none of them is located in the east or even in the south, all in the west and in the north. So you tell me, this is institutionalized marginalization. This is a conspiracy to sabotage the economy and the development of the east. We are not talking about appointment. No, we are talking about having the people have access to freely pursue their development and their aspiration, as it is obtainable in a federal system. I am not surprised, because it is the colonial master that established this very system, and it has continued till today. But I thank God we have men like this that lived before us, and they have gone. The question is, how many of our political class can be bold to stand their ground, just like Uchechukwu Merije and people like Gbulie? That is why very few that we identify with, we throw them up, we encourage them. The people should rally around them and give them the support they need, so that when they go into the house where it matters most, they will speak truth to power and continue the agitation, because the agitation of the Biafran people, not just the Biafran people, the Oduduwa people, the Arewa people, all are political. Stop shouting, this one is marginalizing you, the other one is marginalizing you. You are the ones marginalizing yourself. It doesn't matter where you come from. The political platform gives you the opportunity to pursue your aspiration and achieve it, because that is what politics is all about. And nothing can be achieved through chaos and illegality or breakdown of law and order. I am not an advocate for that. Yet I'm a Biafran, and I believe that those who must pursue our freedom must do that through the due process of law, so that we don't end up destroying the very little we have built for ourselves. I believe this message makes sense to you. Help me share it. Drop your comment on the comment section. Let me have your opinion on this. Bye-bye for now.